Congressman Walsh, always great to talk to you.
Love to be with you, Jenny.
Congressman McCall has asked the Inspector General for Homeland Security to investigate the role of DHS in Operation Fast and Furious. What do you think about a second IG being involved?
Well, the plot thickens, doesn't it?
It sure does.
It again goes to the point that this is a real serious issue. We have Eric Holder not at all cooperating with Congress. And you're right, my colleague Michael McCall from Texas, back on February 15th, he literally asked Secretary Napolitano whether ATF had misled the Department of Homeland Security or ICE agents assigned to assist in the Fast and Furious operation. And Napolitano at the time said, I hope not. Now, what's troubling as well is Secretary Napolitano has also testified to Congress, she did last fall, that she was unaware of Fast and Furious while it was underway. But we know that ICE, that DHS had special agents from ICE involved in investigating Fast and Furious back in late 2009. So I think these questions now propelled my colleague, Mr. McCall, to ask that DHS have a special Inspector General investigation to look into this. We've been told that they'll have their final report due in early October.
Yeah, and you know, at that same hearing that you were talking about, Congressman McCall also asked Janet Napolitano about the role of the ICE agents in Fast and Furious, and she called it minimal. And yet you've got Katie Pavlich with Town Hall who's written about the scandal, and she talks about how the ICE agent, Lane France, was the agent assigned to Fast and Furious, and that he worked directly with the ATF special agent in the case, Hope McAllister, and Supervisor David Voth. Would you call that minimal?
Oh, gee, it's so troubling. That agent who you refer to, he worked on Fast and Furious from 09 to 11, February of 11. He served, he literally served as the liaison between ATF and Homeland Security. And we've had law enforcement and investigative sources say that this special agent was involved in the investigation and surveillance activities. So it's this whole issue of accountability. How could Secretary Napolitano not know? But again, this is the question we've been asking of Eric Holder for a year and a half now. How could he not have known?
Yep.
There's just such a disconnect here.
There really is.
Right.
Congressman, here you have DOJ investigating itself. So isn't this just another case of an agency, DHS, investigating itself? Can we really think it's going to be objective?
No, again, Jimmy, this is not an acceptable step, because the IG, just like with Justice, with that IG, they're literally investigating themselves. And so this demands a separate, independent investigation, and we're back to where we were before we learned of this news. Is we have the head of DOJ, Eric Holder, who has not at all cooperated with our subpoena, and we're at the point now where I think we have no other option but to hold him in contempt. Mm-hmm. And then take it from there. The American people deserve these answers. I hate to sound like a broken record. Brian Terry's family deserves these answers. This just seems like another delaying tactic beyond the election.
Yeah, and I was going to ask you that because, the Inspector General for Homeland Security says they expect to deliver a report to Congress in early October. No word from the DOJ when they're going to deliver the report to you guys. So again, do you think that they're going to say, hey, wait, you know what, we're going to, not more stolen here, we're going to wait until October?
No, yeah, that's just a statement that says, don't call us, we'll call you. To say early October, to put out anything a month before the election won't be consequential, and I don't think we'd see anything until beyond the election. And again, we're beyond that step. Mm-hmm. We're beyond having a second IG and a second Inspector General look into this. We need an independent investigation. We have the head of DOJ not cooperating with an investigation. and we've known this now for some time. I really hope that, again, we're left with no other option, I think, but to hold her in contempt, and I hope I don't hope. None of us want that to happen. But I think that step needs to be taken.
Yeah, and the clock is ticking, no doubt, because the Attorney General has a couple of more weeks to turn in these documents, or as you said, face contempt charges, according to the letter that the House Speaker sent him. But
Yeah.
what is this talk that DOJ is now saying? Hey, we'll send you some of the documents.
I think the thought is this is another delay tactic.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what that means. I mean, there are 88-some thousand documents out there that we've requested that we haven't gotten. Instead, we've gotten 6,000 redacted documents. So what does some mean? Does some mean another 2,000 to 3,000 docs that will be redacted? Almost 92% of what we've requested has not been supplied.
Yeah.
So what is Eric Holder hiding? Why is he not cooperating? And will the Republicans stand pretty firm in that in that something independent needs to be looked at here?
But also what you see going on with the DHS Inspector General, this is a clear indication, isn't it, that Janet Napolitano is still very much on the hot seat in all of this?
Oh, yes. She's almost on every bit of as much of a hot seat as Eric Holder is. And again, remember, Jenny, this is just something outlandish happened. Our government did something wrong. People died because of it, and an American died because of it. We want answers. And the testimony that we've received from Eric Holder has been troubling, to say the least. Now we know that the testimony we've received from Secretary Napolitano has been every bit as troubling as to what she knew when and DHS's involvement in Fast and Furious. Mm-hmm. You mentioned it, Jenny. This sure doesn't sound like their involvement was minimal.
It doesn't matter whether it's your committee or McCall's committee. You just can't get to the bottom of it.
And look, Jenny, I understand this next election in November is all about the fact that Americans aren't working, our economy's not growing, and we're in debt. I understand all of that, and that's what Mitt Romney should run on. That's what all Republicans should run on. But this is a serious, serious breach in our government that needs to be looked at, and we shouldn't let an election get in the way of that.
Absolutely. Thanks always, and stay in touch.
Thanks, Jenny. Thanks much.